This is the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
They don't really want to refer to our centralized federal government as government. Now it's called the federal family. Am I too old to ask to be emancipated, I wonder? Never thought I'd say it, but I want a divorce.
There is a growing groundswell by grassroots conservatives to get America back to constitutional founding, and leadership is the key to that movement. Today, we're joined by Tamara Colbert, the Texas Director for the Convention of States, to talk about what we need to do to get our country back. Sarah Palin wishes her mom a happy birthday. Palin highlights a powerful rendition of God Bless America and a very special football player. Plus Palin's thoughts on Duck Dynasty, a big golf shot, and Obama's ShamWow style. A brand new Commonwealth Common Sense with Susan Stimson is on the way, and just ahead our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman. First, our special guest. She is a great conservative, co-founder of what is now TPAC, a radio host, and just awesome all around. My friend, Tamara Colbert, welcome to the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio.
Hey, Kevin, I hope I can live up to that introduction. Thank you very much. That's extraordinarily kind. Appreciate that.
Well, it's good to have you on, and, I mentioned a lot of what you do or have done as a patriot, and now yet another endeavor, the Convention of States Project. Tell us about the group and your role in it.
Well, absolutely. This last week, I accepted a position as the state director for Texas for the Convention of States, and just for anybody who isn't familiar with that, it's really there's a couple of gentlemen, Mark Meckler and Michael Ferris, patriots all the way around, and extraordinary gentlemen in terms of historical significance. Mark Meckler was co-founder of Tea Party Patriots, which is the largest Tea Party group in the country. And Michael Ferris is the chancellor of Patrick Henry College and chairman of the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. So these two guys, really in tandem with what Mark Levin did in his new book, The Liberty Amendments, really looking at Article 5 of the Constitution. And the Convention of States really was founded to stop the runaway federal government from spending our country into the ground, taking the power from the states, and more importantly, taking the liberty from the people.
Now, tell us, as a state director, what is it you'll be doing, and what are you hoping to do as far as getting more people attracted to this? Why should people take a look at this group, and why should they, more importantly, get involved?
Absolutely. Well, the goal of the Convention of States project really is to empower state legislators to call for a convention of states. What that means is those state legislators would appoint delegates who could propose amendments to the Constitution that would help basically make the current federal government all but impotent, which I love. Article 5 of the Constitution, some people may not know, gives state legislators this power, which is incredible. We can thank George Mason and the rest of our Continental Congress for putting Article 5 in the Constitution, because now what this does, they knew, our founders anticipated this day would come. And through a convention of states, this gives the people an avenue through which we can legally and with no bloodshed, hopefully, be able to take our government back.
And how can people get on board? There's a website?
There's a website. It's www.conventionofstates.com, and we need volunteers from leadership positions heading up from a state level. Right now, we announced on Friday that there are currently 26 state directors that we've got, and that also means we've got 26 state leaderships, meaning there's multiple roles in a state leadership. I'm the director. I've got 3 other people working with me from the state leadership role. And primarily what we are seeking is one district captain for every state legislative district in a state. And then those state district captains are responsible for bringing in at least 100 volunteers. And really what we are focusing on right now, the interim goal is to start making contact with our state legislators to really educate them about what the Article 5 in the Constitution is all about and how we get to use this now to really stop the federal government from the last 5.5 years of destroying this country. It's very exciting that we are witnessing almost a second phase in American history that could be extraordinarily impactful, because this is going to be primarily a grassroots based project.
Well, this is really grassroots all the way, and I know you think that's key right now for our country on all levels, that grassroots movement.
Absolutely. I mean, we can look at some of the great leaders that we have today and some great statesmen that are rising up. Obviously, Ted Cruz, I'm proud to say he's one of my senators. Senator Mike Lee from Utah, Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky. And it is really exciting because these guys are putting it all on the line. Why are they doing that? Are they doing that to raise money for themselves? No. Are they doing that to elevate themselves? Absolutely not. They are standing up on behalf of the American people. And when you look at, there are 100 senators and over 430 members of Congress. And for me personally, when I look out there, I see mere handful of folks that are standing up for what I believe in, my constitutional principles and the founding of this nation. And it's very scary. And looking at the Article 5 component to our Constitution is very exciting, because guess what? It puts the power back in the hands of the people. And any day we can do that and preserve liberty is a great day.
Yeah, and grassroots leads to leadership and vice versa. When you have those leaders like the Cruzes and Pauls and Lees that you mentioned, that leads to more grassroots efforts. So I can understand you there. Now, you are a Sarah Palin supporter, and I know you're drawn to her and especially her attitude of that we need to shake things up in Washington. What is it about Governor Palin that you like so much?
Oh, well, we don't have enough time on the radio program to talk about that, Kevin. You know my personal affection for Governor Palin. I have never met her, but she's on my bucket list. Governor Palin, if you get a chance to listen to this, I want to take you out for a cup of coffee after we do a nice 6-mile run, because that's when I get my best thinking time. I'd look forward to that day very much. But in all seriousness, I have to say that in April of 2008, I was sitting watching Fox News, random Fox News, and an incredible woman came on, and they were talking about American energy, and her name was Governor Sarah Palin. And I turned and looked, and, you know, obviously at this time we all knew that Senator McCain was going to be our choice for GOP against what was looking at Senator Obama at that point. And I looked at my family and I said, Senator McCain needs to choose her. She is amazing and brilliant, and I see myself in her. And it was really the first time in my whole adult life that I had looked at someone that I felt was relatable, that I could imagine myself being powerful and leading in my community, even if I wasn't getting paid to do it. I mean, she was really inspiring to me, and she continues to do so. And I just love her sass. I mean, she's just got bigger cojones than that the people in Washington dream about.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And what is, you know, speaking of the cojones or lack thereof, what is it with these so-called Republicans who just constantly get in the way of the conservatives like Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, Governor Palin? What's the problem there? I mean, you know, it's easy to say we have to vote them all out, but you know how that works. I mean, you do your part and see what happens. And, you know, Peter Schweitzer last week made a great point. He said, or we talked about it together, that, you know, you need to vote them out, but you don't bring in a similar guy to take their place, or this stuff just starts again. You need to also come back with that opposite, that bold color. So you know, doesn't it just make you just, you know, bang your head when you see the Boehners, the McConnells, the McCains, what they do and how they just feel, I guess, threatened by Ted Cruz?
Well, you know, I really feel sorry for Senator McCain and his ilk, and Senator Lindsey Graham and all the others, not to just call them out. But really, these guys, they have a complete fear of irrelevance. They are looking themselves in the mirror and thinking, I've run out of ideas. I'm taking backhanded deals. I have private jets, millions of holidays. I get what I want when I want it, and I have some false sense of entitlement because I have a title, and now that's all gone to their head. And the fact that the GOP at large is silent means absolutely they are a deer in the headlights. They have no idea what they're doing. I'd like to say, Reince Priebus, give me a call because I think I could help you. The GOP, if I was in Reince Priebus's position or was a board member of the GOP, I think there's three things immediately they should be doing. Number one, they should be all over this Obamacare disaster. Every day, John Boehner should have a press conference immediately talking about having one or two guests talk about their issues with losing their health care coverage or having their health care coverage go up 185%. My parents just got a letter from their health care coverage that they've been paying into for 40 years, and on January 1st, they told them their health coverage will be going up a minimum of 85%. My parents are senior citizens. They're retired. They're living on a fixed income. My grandmother moved to Texas from California. She was a Kaiser Permanente member. You know that she would have lost her health care at 88 years old if she wouldn't have moved to Texas. I mean, the list goes on and on. Number two, I would tell the GOP, it's time to get your great conservative talking points into three key issues. Pick three: jobs, the economy, and American energy. Start there. And then you evangelize the heck out of those. Every single person in the House and the Senate should be championing all three of those things so that we have a consistency to our message. Number three, there should be a simultaneous and coordinated offensive against the Democrat machine at every turn. We're not doing this. And I got to be honest, over the last 5 years, Barack Obama and the Democrats, Harry Reid, Pelosi, oh my goodness, we have so much fodder that we have not used. It is unbelievable. And I got to say, Kevin, I'm excited about the Convention of States because I am tired of banging my head against the wall. And I love Sarah Palin. I love the Ted Cruzes of the world because God has given them the microphone to the mass people. Thank God, because we need them out there doing it. And then we need people like, I don't want to say myself, but we need people like the millions of grassroots people, like the Tea Party folks that have been targeted by the IRS, to be the boots on the ground to create the largest grassroots organization in the history of this country. And we will, without bloodshed, take our country back. And that's it.
Well, you mentioned that time when you heard Sarah Palin back in 2008, and since then, this Obama administration, it's been just misery for so many Americans. It's great to see someone like you with so many real common sense ideas, and hopefully people will be able to hear about them and do something about it and get on board. Let's get that website out there one more time.
Sure. It's www.conventionofstates.com, and you can go to the bar at the top, and it says volunteer. You just click the button, and it'll take this page to sign up, and you can do as much or as little as you want. And what I love, Kevin, here's what's so important about the grassroots, which is so terrifying to both mainstream Republicans and mainstream Democrats, and that is that the grassroots are made up of common sense Americans, engineers, moms, retirees. I had one guy last week that sent an email to the Convention of States and said, I am 70 years old, that I can walk, I can call, I can think, I can write, and I am all in. There's nothing else worth fighting for except for liberty. I'm like, that's the man I'm standing with. I have engineers. I have retired Navy physicians. Kevin, you could spin the wheel, throw the dart, and we have African Americans, we have Hispanics, we have Asians, we have white people. I mean, it is a gorgeous rainbow of American citizens who say, no, we're tired, we're not going to take it, and we are going to take matters into our own hands because no one is representing us. And it's going to be exciting to watch, I'll tell you that.
Well, Tamara, it's always great to talk to you, and we appreciate you being here today. And, a lot of people are jealous of you right now because you recently moved to Texas where America's still alive and well. So, those stuck in cities still trying to get through the Obama admirers, if you will, a little less of the load for you now. So congrats on that.
Thank you so much. I have to say, I'm a born and raised Southern California woman, and I love California. I mean, you can go to the beach in the morning and be snow skiing in the mountains at 1 o'clock if you wanted to, literally. And my husband and I have done that. And, you know, but when we realized that the state legislature in California was out of control and no longer represented the value system that my family believed in, which is faith, family, and the founding of our nation, common sense values, we had to get out. And thankfully, my husband and I had an opportunity to do that. And we just, you know, it is America. We just said, we're going to go for it, and we are never going to look back. And we're just so pleased that we're here in Texas. People are so nice and friendly, and I mean, buildings are going up. I mean, housing is a boom right now, and teaching, and our kids are in a great school. And I mean, again, not to brag, but Ted Cruz is one of my senators. So, you know, I wake up in the morning and I'm happy. I'm like, we still live in America. This is still the land of the free, which means opportunity. And our opportunity, anybody who's listening, our opportunity is now. You cannot wait one more day to not do something to stand in the gap for America, for liberty, for freedom, for our posterity. And the time is now, Kevin. We have to go now. We don't have much longer. And, you know, Sarah talks about this. Governor Palin, I'm sorry to use the familiar. Governor Palin talks about this, and Mark Levin and Sean Hamm. I mean, all of kind of our core media leadership that really, they are raising the levels. But what's going to happen is it's you, Kevin, and me, and our neighbors, and our friends, and the people down the street, and in our churches. It's going to be up to us if we want this country to survive.
And less Feinstein and Boxer and more Cruz. Thanks, Tamara.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, Kevin.
Tamara Colbert on the Palin Update. For more, visit conventionofstates.com. Sally Heath celebrated a birthday last week, and Sarah Palin wished her mom a happy one on social media with a heartfelt note that included, quote, "We love you more than life itself. Thank you for everything. You're the kind of mom who says, seeing only 5 pieces of pie left while 6 of us sat there, oh, I never much liked pie anyway," unquote. Palin also included my Breitbart column that I wrote on Mrs. Heath this past Mother's Day. Thank you, Governor, for that honor. And from all of us here at Saranet Radio, happy birthday, Sally Heath. Governor Palin featured a stirring performance of God Bless America this past week, writing, quote, "Goosebumps. God, thank you for America, and thank you for giving talent like this to a gracious man who can express our pride in the USA." The link shows retired Navy Petty Officer First Class Generald Wilson singing at the World Series. If you haven't seen it, make sure you do. Like the governor said, you'll get goosebumps. Sarah Palin also wrote this past week, "A good man flanked by teammates shows what victory really is." The governor linked to a Bleacher Report article about a water boy with Down syndrome who scored a touchdown in Wisconsin. It is a must-see story. The Duck Dynasty guys are at it again in a good way. Uncle Cy Robertson is working for Samaritan's Purse Operation Christmas Child. Sarah Palin praised him and said Reverend Franklin Graham, who is the founder of the Samaritan's Purse organization, and his team do such wonderful work around the globe. It was such an honor to join him on a Christmas mission in Haiti a few years ago. Reverend Billy Graham, incidentally, turns 95 this week. It's a golfer's dream. Palin's brother-in-law nailed a hole-in-one this past week. Kurt Bruce did it on hole 16 at the Anchorage Golf Course, 170 yards away with a 7-iron. Congratulations to Kurt. And Obama's traveling show continues. Palin called the president's visit to Boston this past week another ShamWow-style infomercial for Obamacare. Palin goes on to blast Obamacare and ask, "Happy with this, America? Make your voices heard. 2014 is just around the corner." To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page or follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA.
It's time for Commonwealth Common Sense with Susan Stimson and Kevin Scholla.
Hey, Susan, how are you?
I'm doing great, just working hard here as we're coming down to our last few days before the election.
Now, I know in Virginia and other places there's something that runs a lot of campaigns. You hear independents and candidates who are less fun to talk about it all the time, the money that's involved in politics. And you have a take on that right now. You've noticed how money's affecting some of the races in Virginia.
It's very interesting if you're watching the news at all now in the morning, or if you're just watching television, you can see how it's just shaping the entire race here in Virginia and the issues. And there's a Saul Alinsky type tactic that the Democrats are using. It doesn't really matter what the record of the person is. Let's just go ahead and use the same old tired and true. Republicans hate women. Republicans don't like anyone other than themselves, and it's just something that it's a tactic that seems to be working for them.
It's scary in a way. It also is maddening in a way, too, because you think to yourself, at least I do, well, what does money matter if you do the digging on the candidate and find out what he or she is about? You should be able to make your decision based on where they are on the issues. I think this may also bring up, the low information voter problem again, too, because perhaps those who don't know any of these candidates only because of advertisements or campaign, signs and whatnot that, translate, they're out there because of money.
Well, I do think that in the case here in Virginia, you have Terry McAuliffe, who has been a prolific fundraiser for many years, and he's using those contacts. He's doubled the amount of money that Ken Cuccinelli has raised, and where that plays is on television. They are just out maneuvering us on the message, and I guess it's one of those things where you hear something over and over and over again, even if it isn't true, it's the perception is a reality. So what Republicans are going to have to do is they're going to have to enter into this, and we're just going to have to come together and fight back on it and help our candidates raise the kind of money that the Democrats are raising.
Now, McAuliffe even had Obama stumping for him. You would think that would hurt him if anybody's doing their homework about what's going on in Washington, but a favorite of the left for sure.
There is an overall dissatisfaction, though, I think, that the people have with the negative campaigning that they are trying to pierce through to the issues. So hopefully we're going to see a different result and that it won't pay off for the Democrats in this case.
All right, Susan, thank you.
Thank you.
Susan Stimson in Virginia. More Commonwealth Common Sense next week. Now, our weekly commentary, Steel Resolve. Here's Sarah Steelman.
Thanks, Kevin. What do the numbers 63, 47, and 28 have in common? If you answered healthcare, you would be correct. According to Forbes, the three largest healthcare insurance companies have dramatically increased their share value in 2013. Cigna is up 63%, WellPoint up 47%, and United Healthcare 28%. The S&P Health Insurance Index has gained 43%. The chokehold that health insurance companies have on Congress and government regulators is getting stronger. In 2013, the health insurance companies have so far spent $243 million on D.C. lobbying, according to Center for Responsive Politics and reported by Breitbart's Big Government. And they are estimated to spend a total of $500 million before the year is over. Capitalism works best when there are numerous suppliers competing to offer the best prices to consumers. Unfortunately, part of the problem is that these top insurers, jointly with the federal government, have an oligopoly on the health insurance market. Obamacare would never have passed without the blessing of these insurance companies and the assurance that they would lock in profits. They can pass along their costs by raising premiums, and since Obamacare mandates that you have to have coverage, the consumer is totally at the mercy of the insurance company to pay their higher premium. The so-called Affordable Care Act is only affordable for insurance companies, and that's by design. This is Sarah Steelman for SaraNet Radio.
Tune in again next week for another segment of Steel Resolve right here on the Palin Update. The Palin Update, including Commonwealth Common Sense and Steel Resolve, is on demand and available for download. So just head to SaraNetRadio.net, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on SaraNet Radio. Visit SaraNetRadio.net for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, follow along on Twitter at SaraNet Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Susan B. Stimson, and at Sarah_Steelman. We're on Facebook, too, so like SaraNet Radio and like Kevin Scholla. Palin Patriots is our feature on SaraNet.net. There you can check out the writings from our great panel of contributors, including Martha Zoller and Bader Carmoot. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Just go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I want to thank Sarah Steelman, Susan Stimson, and everyone here at SaraNet Radio. Thanks to Tamara Colbert, and thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.